It's time once again for NBL Canada this week. How you doing, basketball fans? This is Aaron Sanders, your host once again, as we take a look at this past week's action here in the National Basketball League of Canada. On today's show, 3 quick game recaps, an in-depth look at Carl English retirement ceremony, the players of the week, and of course, the fan favorite, NBLC cuts. Well, let's kick things off with what happened on February 20th. It was the St. John's Edge who went to the auditorium to play against the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans. The Titans were able to prevail over the Edge. So for more on that, here's Ian Jodry with a quick recap from the auditorium.
Well, it's not very often that two teams are coming off separate double overtime victories, but that was the case here tonight. And you had to wonder who was going to have enough left in the tank. Well, KW quickly answered that when they scored 35 in the opening quarter, 14 of them from Ed Horn, who is playing in just his 4th game back from injury. When St. John's was here a week ago, they trailed by 10, but ultimately kicked off their 4-game road trip with a win. You were wondering when they were going to have that outburst tonight. They got it within 14 a few times in that second half, but ultimately their big guns, Carrington Ward and Monte Brandon, they went 0 for 14 from the field. The Titans, they show off their depth scoring. 6 different guys in double figures. The Titans, they end up winning back-to-back games for the first time this season, and after starting the year 0-3 against St. John's, they finally pick up win number 1 against the Edge.
And then we had a twofer on February 23rd. We begin things with the Halifax Hurricanes playing against the Moncton Magic over at the Avenir Center. It was a game of historic proportions. One player getting a career and franchise high. I wonder who that could be. Here's Adam Gould, the heavyweight voice, and Hoops Tingley, David Tingley, to tell you all about it.
Right, Adam Gould, Dave Tingley here at the Avenir Center. Moncton Magic went up against the Halifax Hurricanes today, and a historic game for Billy White with 52 points. Our final score is 136-104. I'm vibrating, I'm so excited right now.
Well, I don't want to talk about that, but Billy was unconscious from start to finish, and when a guy getting his second triple-double of the year and Jeremiah Morty has to take a back seat, he'll gladly do it every time. He was the guy most waving the fans to their feet at the end of the game. 11 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists for him, but Billy 52, and he was on fire from the start. 18 for 20 from the field, 8 for 8 from 3, 8 for 10 from 3, 8 for 8 from the line. It was tremendous defensively, and Halifax, after a shaky start, was pretty good offensively, but they just couldn't do anything to stop Moncton on the offensive end of the floor. They shot the ball extremely well from 3 and executed and just kept getting the ball to Billy, and he kept making things happen.
Yeah, it just seemed like the basket was huge tonight. Everything goes down for Billy White. We had the return of Ronnie Delph in action tonight as well.
Yep, and that looked just adds more dimensions. I mean, you keep stacking things on top of things on top of things, and the Magic are really, really hard to stop right now.
Marcus Lewis draining a couple threes in there as well. Great overall game of basketball. The Magic take it tonight 136-104. We're looking forward to being back here on Friday night and Sunday night. Until then, we'll see you next time.
On that same day, all eyes were at the Mile 1 Center as Carl English, beloved Canadian icon, had his jersey retired in front of everybody as the St. John's Edge prevailed in a squeaker against the Island Storm. And to talk about the retirement ceremony and that thriller of a game, here's the commentators, George Scott and Doug Partridge.
A very successful weekend for the St. John's Edge here at Mile 1 as they win both games against the Island Storm Saturday night and Sunday afternoon. So they go into the second half now with a record of 11-7, and Doug, they're in pretty good shape heading into that second half.
Yeah, they did what they had to do here. They got both wins. That gives them a nice cushion in the second place battle with the Storm. I thought they did a great job of aggressively attacking the net, taking the threes when they were there, getting to the free throw line. The Storm just struggled with shot distribution. They took too many pull-ups, too many two-point shots in that mid-range that don't get fouls, that aren't efficient. And when you're talking about games that are decided by a point here, a point there, that's often the difference is whether you're taking the right types of shots.
And despite everything the Edge did right and the issues that the Storm had, both of these games came right down to the last few seconds. The Storm hung in there and gave the Edge all they could handle.
Yeah, you got to feel a little bit sorry for the Storm or have a little empathy for them because they never stopped competing. They competed hard both games. The first game that kind of came out and gave it a lot of go right from the beginning at the start of the first quarter, start of the third quarter, and kind of petered out as the game went on. Tonight they kind of held it back a little bit at the start, so they had energy for the end, came on hard, but same thing, they had a nice little put-back layup that would have tied the game with about 20 seconds to go, and it just rolled off the rim for them.
Of course, one of the highlights this weekend was the tribute to Carl English that the Edge did today, and the big crowd that came out for this game. Just speak a little bit about Carl English and the tribute that the Edge did do for him today.
Yeah, it was great to see. It's an appropriate way for things to wrap up for Carl. He's meant a lot to the province. He's meant a lot to the game of basketball. He's played all over the world, represented his country for 13 years. So to see him be celebrated, to see the fans of Newfoundland be able to come out and let him know that they support him, they appreciate everything that he did, they understand the impact that he's had, not just here but globally. And even the retired jersey, I thought it was a nice touch by the Edge to kind of list the various places that he's played, and I thought that was really neat, right from Fatima School right down to his last couple of years with the Edge, just to show the global nature of his impact.
Yeah, he's been all over the place and meant so much to basketball here. So the Edge head into the second half of the season solidly in second place. They'll begin that second half on the road. They'll head through Ontario, and they won't be back here at Mile 1 until March the 24th when the Windsor Express come into town. Get your tickets for that one and get out and watch that one. That'll do it for us today from Mile 1.
That's it for the recaps. Now on we go to the NBLC Players of the Week. And this time around, Billy White of the Moncton Magic has been bestowed with this honor. Averaging 34 points, more on that in just a moment, 7 rebounds, and shooting 45.8% from the field, Billy was able to help the Magic to 2 key victories. The reason why he averaged 34 points per game is because he scored a career and franchise high 52 points on February 23rd against his former team, the Halifax Hurricanes. Put her there, Billy. The Canadian Player of the Week is Kemi Osei of the Windsor Express, averaging 12.6 points, 2.3 assists, and shooting 42.3% from the field. He was able to help the Express to 2 key victories from this past week. And those, my friends, are the NBLC's Players of the Week.
All right. You held on long enough. You watched the program long enough. You know what's going to happen. Here's our main event. Fans, you've been asking for it. It's time to see if your players and teams made the cuts. Here's this installment of NBLC Cuts.
Lots of guys to watch on NBLC Live.
Okay, what are the highlights? What about our favorite players? What about our favorite team? This little interesting feature we call NBLC Cuts. Here it is.
We've got another video to come up. Oh, throwdown by Ward.
Up to Marcus Lewis, who absolutely wrecks that rim.
Denny McDonald getting one of his first tastes. And as the clock expires,
Ashley rolling to the basket. Ashley with another Ash Bash.
To Marcus Lewis, to Billy White. Oh, good defense.
By Isom. Still gets it down a little bit tighter.
Hits the front of the rim, but nice take. Back the other way. Kindred from Klink.
Down for 3.
Down below.
And Gaines going coast to coast, finding food, and Gaines throws it down.
Over to Jerry Morty, back to Wayne, and nails the bunny.
Campbell off the glass. Big putback.
100 points on the board.
I dare say we're going to be on the some of these plays tonight are going to make the cut on NBLC Makes the Cut.
Knicks. And Brown with the steal. And Brown with the finger. Campbell 1 of 2 from the free throw line on that sequence. And Marcus Lewis for the Magic goes in and throws that down big time.
His first points of the contest. Isom down low to Phillips. Breaks out the hammer.
Down the baseline. No, Johnson with the one-handed putback.
In addition to rest Campbell and Lloyd. Oh, and there's the Moon behind the back dribble on here, and it's denied by Mojo. And Sam Mojo is now the leading leader. And NBLC blocks.
But offensive rebound taken by the Edge. And Broom wanted a foul call there. Lillard will take it in and throw down
back
the two-hander.
The other way. Nice feed in the jam by Marcus Lewis for the Storm.
Stolen away on the pass to Osei. Pass on the fast break. Tap to Johnson. It gets his own tip.
Are you kidding me right now? Initiates contact again. Oh, he gets the bucket. Hooping the harm, and he'll try to convert on the
89-87. Williamson looking to add to his previous bucket. Shot is up. High arc off the glass is good. Back-to-back buckets by Williamson.
That's not on the weekly NBLC highlight reel. The make the cut. Have you seen that?
That's it, fans. Remember, subscribe to NBLC Live today, and of course, the podcast that everyone's talking about around the league, Around the NBLC with host Scott Squires. Join him every week as he has some great teams and players on the league's official podcast. That's it for me, and until next week, this be Aaron Sanders saying so long from NBLC this week.